And now it's time for Worldview. And according to reports, there were Russian attacks in several regions of Ukraine. And that's despite Vladimir Putin's ceasefire pledge during the Orthodox Christmas. Joining me in the studio to talk about the Russian is political commentator and Russia expert Danny Armstrong. Right, Danny, so talk to me about this then, because first of all, Russia calling for a ceasefire, so they're in control. Are they?
That's a very, very interestingly put question, whether they're in control or not. Vladimir Putin put out, he asked for a 36-hour ceasefire to celebrate Orthodox Christmas. Orthodox Christmas is celebrated from something like midnight mass on January 6th, and then January 7th is Christmas Day. He was keen to stress that it wasn't a de-escalation. It was simply a chance for people to observe Orthodox Christmas, as there are a lot of pro-Russians in eastern Ukraine. But a little bit of chronology of what's happened. There was a New Year's Eve, or New Year's Day rather, attack. It was 1 minute past midnight by Ukrainian soldiers that killed around about 400 Russian troops. Then Vladimir Putin comes out and says he wants a 36-hour ceasefire. Well, then we're having reports of Russia has bombed the town of Kramatorsk in Donetsk, which is of course, controlled by proxy Russian troops. Russia says there are around about 600 troops that have died in that attack. Ukraine disputes that number. My guess is that as soon as Russia had that information of where the Ukrainians were housed in a housing accommodation, they thought it was worth striking, because New Year is actually the biggest celebration over in Orthodox Christian countries. So my guess is that it was just too much of a good opportunity to turn down.
So that was Russia killing Ukrainians?
Yes, that was Russia targeting Ukrainians. This ceasefire, the Ukrainian side said this is just a ruse, this is just to stop our advances in the east. You can look at it that way. My inkling would be that in revenge, and that's what's come out of my old stamping ground, Russia Today, the Russian state media, is that it's a revenge attack for that New Year's Day attack from the Ukrainians. That's what I would say. However, in Ukraine, we are seeing, certainly the people that I'm speaking to on the ground, is that rather than celebrating Christmas on January 7th, people are saying we don't want to celebrate like devils do. We don't want to celebrate the holidays where there is a place where Satan is in the church, and that's what they call the Russian Orthodox Church. And now they're celebrating on December the 25th. Now, I've lived in a country that's a Russian Orthodox and Orthodox Eastern country for the best part of a decade, and December 25th is just another day. New Year's Day takes precedence, and then January 7th is Christmas. Now, my inkling, this all came about, this attack from Russia on Ukrainian troops. Around about, they say 600 have been killed, but it was in revenge for that attack by Ukraine on Russian soldiers on 1 minute past midnight on New Year's Day.
Wow. So the ceasefire, obviously it doesn't sound like anyone's going to honour that at all, are they? And
it doesn't look like it, no.
And briefly, in terms of the regions now that have been attacked in Ukraine, so where is the main fighting now? Well,
the main fighting has been in Bakhmut. In Ukraine, of course, there is still shelling going on. The main firing along the contact line was in DNR and LNR in eastern Ukraine, in the two People's Republics that Russia claimed and recognised the independence of around about, I think it was 2 days before the invasion. So there's still a lot of fighting going on there. This is where the attacks that I've just mentioned have taken place, and that's where we're going to see the heavy fighting. I would suggest maybe it would pick up around February, so just around a year after this invasion was launched.
This needs to stop, it really does. Danny Armstrong, thank you very much. He's a political commentator and Russia expert.